Kirk Herbstreit's recent comments struck a chord across the college football community, and for good reason. On the surface, his warning about locker rooms collapsing amid rampant roster turnover and monetization pressures may sound dramatic, but dig a little deeper, and you'll see he's pointing to a real tipping point. The fabric that holds teams together is fraying fast. The transfer tsunami. Since the NCAA relaxed its transfer rules in 2021, the portal has become a revolving door. In 2024 alone, over 2,000 FBS players entered the transfer portal, many of them multiple times. What once was an exception for seniors or extenuating circumstances has morphed into an expectation that moving on is the fastest path to playing time or a bigger name brand. Continuity lost. Programs that once boasted multi-year player development now scramble each spring to plug holes left by portal departures. Cohesion cracked, veterans can no longer count on the same locker room faces. Leadership groups are in a state of constant rebuild, making buy-in and uniting around a single identity that much harder. Name, image, and likeness, NIL, a double-edged sword. The NIL era has unquestionably empowered athletes, many of whom now earn more than their coaches. But the scramble for deals can exacerbate the churn. Pay-to-play poker. Top recruits and breakout underclassmen can be swayed by bigger NIL offers at other schools, turning roster building into a bidding war. Uneven fields. Power 5 programs with deep alumni networks or boosters willing to write six-figure checks gain an even bigger edge, fueling a rich-get-richer cycle and draining talent from mid-major feeder programs. Coach's dilemma. Pat Narduzzi, Pitt, and Jake Dickert, Wake Forest, have both publicly voiced their concerns. Narduzzi admits he doesn't have faith in the current ecosystem, but hopes incremental fixes help. Dickert goes even further, suggesting college football must decide whether it wants an MLB-style free spending model or an NFL-style salary cap that levels the playing field. Their perspectives raise two key questions. One, can we balance player empowerment with team stability? Two, is there a third way unique to college football, one that preserves amateurism spirit while ensuring schools can't simply outspend their peers? What's on the table? There are a few proposals currently under discussion. Transfer windows, limiting when and how often players can transfer, akin to professional leagues' trade deadlines. NIL caps or floors, placing ceilings on individual NIL earnings or tiered minimum payouts to ensure everyone at least gets a baseline benefit. Roster size limits, cutting the maximum scholarship count or total roster size to make each slot more precious and discourage casual departures. Each idea has pros and cons and will face legal and logistical hurdles, but the bipartisan NCAA versus House settlement suggests that reform is inevitable. The cost of inaction. If nothing changes, fan disengagement. When your favorite team turns over half its roster every year, it's harder to build attachment to players or celebrate multi-year storylines. Recruiting arms race. Smaller programs may simply give up, deepening the gap between the haves and have-nots. Locker room instability. Coaches will continue to spend precious practice time reteaching fundamentals to newcomers rather than refining game plans and culture. A collective reboot. Herbstreit's warning is a call to arms for everyone involved: administrators, coaches, student athletes, and the media. College football's magic has always come from its blend of regional traditions, multi-year narratives, and a shared belief that every player is on a journey, both athletically and academically. Preserving that magic means finding new guardrails that, 1, protect team unity by ensuring leaders can mentor underclassmen over time, 2, preserve athlete rights by continuing NIL opportunities and reasonable transfer freedoms. 3, enable competitive balance by preventing the richest programs from hoarding talent indefinitely. If college football can strike that balance, Herbstreit's cautionary tale will become a footnote instead of a looming crisis. But if reform stalls, his locker rooms collapsing soundbite may end up being prophetic, and that would be a loss felt from Eugene to Tuscaloosa to Columbus. ESPN's most recognizable college football voice, Kirk Herbstreit, is sounding the alarm on the sport's future. After watching rosters turn over at an unprecedented rate, thanks to the transfer portal, name, image, likeness, NIL deals, and one-and-done opt-outs, Herbstreit warned locker rooms could collapse if something isn't done to restore stability. The transfer title wave. Last season saw more than 4,000 Division I transfers, with programs losing up to half their roster year to year. Herbstreit argues that constant churn erodes team culture. Open quote, "When you lose your identity every season, you lose accountability," he said on ESPN's college football podcast. If guys know they can jump ship for a bigger paycheck or more playing time, what's the incentive to buy in? Close quote. Coaches echo the call. Pittsburgh's Pat Narduzzi admitted the current system lacks any meaningful guardrails. Open quote, "The NCAA couldn't control it before, and there's no control now. I have to have faith, but we'll see in a year," Narduzzi said. "Something's better than nothing," he added, reflecting frustration shared across the Power Five. Close quote. Wake Forest Jake Dickert went further, comparing college football's chaos to the pro ranks. Open quote. "Do we want MLB with a few $250 million payrolls and some moneyball teams, or the NFL with a hard cap and consistent rules? You don't see NFL teams crowdfunding for free agents." Close quote, NIL's double-edged sword. While allowing student athletes to profit has been a monumental shift, Herbstreit cautions it may unintentionally fuel roster instability. Programs with the deepest pockets can outbid smaller schools, turning rosters into auction blocks. Open quote. "When your best players can switch teams for a better deal every spring, you can't build a program," he noted. Close quote, taught toward a solution? In June, the NCAA approved a framework to tighten transfer windows, limit initial eligibility waivers, and cap NIL earnings per sport. Early proposals include a single one-time transfer exception instead of unlimited moves, a fixed 45-day spring window for transfers, grouped salary pools to prevent under-the-table bidding wars. Whether these measures will save the locker room remains to be seen. Herbstreit and many head coaches believe it's a start, but only if enforced consistently. As one Power 5 coordinator put it, "We need predictability. If next year's team looks nothing like this year's, fans will lose interest, and coaches will lose their jobs." With college football's viewership and revenues at all-time highs, stakeholders face a critical choice: embrace the free agent era at the cost of tradition, or restore guardrails to preserve the game's essence. The next few weeks of NCAA rulemaking may determine which path wins out. Kirk Herbstreit's recent comments struck a chord across the college football community, and for good reason. On the surface, his warning about locker rooms collapsing amid rampant roster turnover and monetization pressures may sound dramatic, but dig a little deeper, and you'll see he's pointing to a real tipping point. The fabric that holds teams together is fraying fast. The transfer tsunami. Since the NCAA relaxed its transfer rules in 2021, the portal has become a revolving door.